Okay, it has been an absolutely crazy day. PlayStation announced some new leadership changes that are pretty big. As you can see, I am on the road, but I wanted to do my best to bring you this story. Let's get into it right now. So, obviously, dealing with a little bit of a setup change here, but let's get into the story. This might look a little weird to start, but I will edit it in post. So, new leadership structure formed at Sony Interactive Entertainment. Hideaki Nishino appointed CEO, Platform Business Group. Hermen Hulst appointed CEO, Sony Business Group. New leadership structure establishes commitment to sustainable growth. Now, sustainable growth is something that we're going to hear a lot about over the coming months and years because the video game industry is in a bit of a turmoil with profit margins obviously being lower than expected, and everybody is looking at how to make that up. Continuing on in the story, Sony Group Corporation and Sony Interactive Entertainment, the company behind PlayStation, today announced the leadership structure of SIE. The new leadership structure of SIE. Effective June 4th, Hideaki Nishino will be appointed CEO of SIE's Platform Business Group, and Hermen Hulst will be appointed CEO of SIE's Studio Business Group. Hiroki Totoki, who has been serving as interim CEO of SIE, will serve as chairman of SIE in addition to his role as president, COO, and CFO of Sony Group Corporation. Nishino and Hulst will report to Totoki and intend to collaborate closely to strengthen each core business while maximizing synergies at SIE. Now, this does seem to be a significant shakeup at Sony. I am very interested to see how it all plays out. As you may know, Hermen Hulst has long been a part of the Sony company, so it was sort of imagined that Hulst would take over, and here we are. Sony Interactive Entertainment is a dynamic and growing business that delivers incredible entertainment experiences through the connection of content and technology. These two leaders will have clear responsibilities and will manage strategic direction to ensure the focus remains on deepening engagement with existing PlayStation users and expanding experiences to new audiences, said Hiroki Totoki, interim CEO, Sony Interactive Entertainment, President, COO, and CFO, Sony Group Corporation. I guess they really need to have all of his titles in there every time that he talks. That is absolutely a mouthful. Anyway, continuing on here, Nishino is currently SVP, Platform Experience Group, and leads the team responsible for developing the experiences and technology within PlayStation products and services. The Platform Experience Group pushes the boundaries of play in many ways, including the innovations in PlayStation 5, the immersiveness of the PSVR 2, and connecting millions of people on PlayStation Network. In his new capacity as CEO of the Platform Business Group, Nishino will continue to be responsible for technology, products, services, and platform experience. He will also oversee third-party publisher and developer relations and commercial operations, including sales and marketing of hardware, services, and peripherals. Now, there's one thing that you might not know about Sony, and that's their peripherals are sometimes selling very well, sometimes not so well. I know the PSVR 2 hasn't quite sold as well as PlayStation and Sony might have hoped, but the PlayStation Portal, which I think a lot of us mocked, has apparently been doing quite well. Let me just bring up this quote here. Shinobi, who follows Sony quite closely, actually posted the following. Demand for PlayStation Portal has exceeded supply for several months now, with the device doing better than expected. Not massive units, but pretty good. That is via Matt Piscatella of Circana. So obviously a very good thing to see that the handheld platform is doing better than expected, at least in that instance. They continue on saying, we will continue to connect players and creators through world-class products, services, and technology. We always strive to grow our community even bigger with innovation in every area here at Sony Interactive Entertainment, said Hideaki Nishino, SVP Platform Experience Group. I am honored to be appointed such an important role alongside Hermen. By working closely together, we will be positioned to build incredible experiences for an ever-expanding audience now and in the future. I have to imagine that the next leap of hardware is going to be really interesting for PlayStation and for Xbox. There's rumors that Xbox is going to get in on the handheld market, and with the success of the PlayStation Portal, it kind of seems like a no-brainer. As you may know, the PlayStation Portal is a device that you can only use in your house. You sort of have to be tethered to your PlayStation 5 or at least to a Wi-Fi connection. So if they can do successful numbers with their Portal device, I have to imagine Microsoft Gaming or Xbox would be able to do something similar. Hulst is currently serving as SVP and head of PlayStation Studios and responsible for developing content across many devices, including PlayStation consoles and PCs, and bringing video game IP to new mediums such as film and television through PlayStation products. The PlayStation products team is working on several game adaptations and developed the Emmy Award-winning television series The Last of Us, an adaptation from an award-winning game. In his new role as CEO of the studio business group, Hulst will be responsible for the development, publishing, and business operations of SIE first-party content. He goes on to say the following: I am thrilled to lead the studio business group. I am thrilled to lead the studio business group and continue to build our success with PlayStation 5 while preparing for the future, said Hermen Hulst, SVP head of PlayStation Studios. The video game industry is one of the largest entertainment industries in the world and has been built on the marriage of content and technology, and I look forward to continuing to push the boundaries of play and entertainment. Now, say what you will about PlayStation and their strategies, I do think Hermen Hulst being in this position is more set up for success than anybody else would be. I think he will hopefully have a more even hand than Jim Ryan did. I was obviously very critical of Jim Ryan, and I would be happy to see how somebody who worked in the development space is able to make positive changes for the brand. Now, continuing on, Daniel Ahmad had some insights about all this data. He says, here are some interesting takeaways from Sony's financial year 23-24 earnings. Helldivers has become Sony's fastest selling title ever, having sold 12 million units in 12 weeks, surpassing the record set by God of War Ragnarok. That is absolutely insane. PC was a large part of the success as evidenced below. Now, do you understand why PlayStation is looking to expand into the PC market? It's obvious there is a ton of revenue opportunity there. You have like 2 games like that a year or more, and you are set up for success, as evidenced by PlayStation's continued winning streak. Continuing on here, number 2, the digital ratio for full game software releases on PlayStation platforms reached 70% for the full year. The chart below shows how digital sales accounted for just 19% in financial year 2015. The pandemic accelerated the already existing shift to digital. Obviously, a lot of people are buying digitally. The end of the cyclical profit slash loss console cycle. In the past, declining software sales and high R&D costs would typically generate a loss in console launch years. The PS4 to PlayStation 5 transition had higher margin digital content sales subscriptions equal higher profits. Now, the next slide, I believe, has been referenced by a few people, and they're looking at a very, next few slides actually, they're looking at a very narrow window where PlayStation outsold Xbox 5-1, I want to say it was, for the last few quarters. But when you look at the life cycle of both of the consoles, it's actually 2-1, which is still an impressive feat, but it's not the 5-1 that you might have seen touted out there. Let's get the numbers right if we're going to be touting a victory. The PlayStation 5 has sold 59.2 million units as of March 31st, 2024. This is slightly behind the PlayStation 4 in the same time frame, 60 million. They do not expect the PS5 to surpass the PS4 in the next year. In other words, while console hardware sales are healthy, Sony is unable to sell more than the prior gen. That's why there's been a huge focus on increasing the ARPU for console users and also embracing a beyond console strategy. Wow, that is some spin from Daniel Ahmad. The beyond console strategy, aka launching on PC. We did the report about Square Enix the other day and how they are going to be launching on all platforms. No more PlayStation exclusives. They're looking at Nintendo. They're looking at the Xbox. They're looking at PC. They're going to be launching everywhere. And a real quick update, there were layoffs, unfortunately, at Square Enix after I did that report. That news story came out. So it is hitting the industry everywhere, and that is just the unfortunate reality that we live in. It is across the board. Now, here's the important bit about console sales. Daniel Ahmad said the PlayStation 5 shipped 4.5 million units in the last quarter, according to our estimates. This is almost 5 times more than the Xbox Series X and S shipped in the same period. This is a bonus one for the console warriors, plus my rent is due. He's looking for that sweet, sweet X revenue. Hopefully he manages to get it. And then he did do a little bit of an update right here. He said, insane. This is a big reason why Microsoft will almost certainly go all in on full multi-platform, and I expect will become more and more apparent over the next 12 to 18 months. You can't grow Game Pass at the rate you want and recoup sales with these numbers. Daniel Ahmad pointed out, though, in response to this, for what it's worth, the actual lifetime to date ratio is closer to 2 to 1. It's just the past year where the gap has started to widen significantly. And Shinobi said, appreciate the additional info, but it's obvious that the industry is shifting pretty drastically across the board. Tom Warren also showed this chart that he sort of got some heat for. Let's take a look at it. Sony's PlayStation 5 sales are down 29% year over year in the recent Q. Sony also says it sold 20.8 million PS5 consoles for its full 2023 fiscal year, a slight miss on its revised target of 21 million. Sony now expects PS5 sales to decline 18 million over the financial year 24 fiscal year. So again, forecasting that the PlayStation 5 isn't going to see like crazy gangbuster sales like it once did. And some people said focusing on that stat without context is a bit unfair in my opinion. Last year, Sony was coming off record quarter sales, and PS5 supply issue had finally been fixed to match high demand. The only way from there was down. Sony still sold 20 million units, which is more than the PS4 ever did in a year. You know, I do hear Genki, who I follow on Twitter, a great resource for information. But the reality is they're missing their forecasted targets. So Sony is projecting sales in one stratosphere, and they're not quite hitting the ultra stratosphere. They're just hitting, you know, regular gangbuster sales, I think is what he is pointing out. Some other reactions that I wanted to highlight here. Daniel Ahmad said, PlayStation now has 2 CEOs, one to announce a new game and the other to announce a remake/remaster shortly after. I thought that one was pretty funny. Jason Schreier, you know, broke the news earlier on, and Cromwell over at Larian Studios said, honestly, don't hate this at all. Kind of agree with him. I think it's kind of nice to have leadership broken apart into the 3 different roles. Tom Warren pointed out that Hiroki Totoki previously discussed the need for a greater PlayStation PC focus for first-party games. Sony will report its latest earnings tomorrow. Now, of course, Sony obviously looking to have as much profit as they possibly can. Genki says, I think we are seeing restructuring and a bigger focus on multi-platform from both Square Enix and Sony this week, and it would appear that has absolutely come to pass. That is it for this news update. There were actually more tabs. I'm probably going to do that in a separate video tomorrow. It's very late. I want to get this video up before midnight so I can stick to my cadence. So I'm going to get this edited and up as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching. I'm on the road. I apologize for a little bit of weird lighting. I couldn't quite get the shadow on this side the way that I like it. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to all of the members who support this channel and support me doing this while I'm on the road or at the house, wherever I am. Thank you so much. If you want to check out the previous video I did, I was probably mad about Xbox stuff. No, I talked about the Square Enix stuff, and we had the update today. So check that one out if you want to know what's going on at Square Enix and how they are dropping exclusivity, as it seems everybody is in some fashion, except for Nintendo. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now.